We want to be able to sit down and open your laptop knowing exactly what this block of time is for. And then knowing when it's time to transition to your next focus area that requires a different kind of energy. And this is what real planning looks like. It's intentional discernment, it's decision making, it's boundary setting, it's setting yourself up for success, focus, and flow by creating the definitions and distinctions, and you're deciding ahead of time so that you're not having to scramble or decide in the moment. And no wonder that's exhausting. No wonder it's overwhelming.
Overwhelm, reaction mode, and just keeping up are the old way.
You need real, root-level strategies and practical steps to grow your business or ministry without exhaustion and burnout.
Hi there, we're Anna Saucier
And Megan Gephardt,
best friends and business consultants who help faith-filled women create sustainable growth through simple strategy with a people-first approach.
Here at Apostolic Fruit, we hope to offer you clarity, support, accompaniment, and healing,
one tiny step at a time.
Hello. This is Megan Gephardt, and I'm so excited to welcome you back to the Apostolic Fruit podcast. So, one of the top episodes that we've ever published was the one about when everything feels urgent, and we dove into how to prioritize when you're spread thin. So, we're going to talk about that again today. We're going to talk about prioritization. And maybe you, like me, like all of the women that we serve, have sat down at your desk to work. And then maybe 2 hours later, you've answered some emails, you've jumped around between the million open tabs in your brain and on your computer. Maybe you scrolled Instagram too long. Maybe you created one piece of content and reorganized the Tupperware cabinet for the 10th time this month. I don't know. But somehow you didn't actually move forward on the things that mattered most, or even the one thing that mattered most. I think we've all been there. This is the trap that so many of us fall into. Precious work time gets swallowed up by really just trying to figure out where to even freaking begin half the time. We may dabble here, tinker there, we stare at the overwhelming to-do list, we scroll a little or maybe get sucked in a lot, and we still walk away without the clarity or the momentum that we were hoping for. And even if you do get a bunch done and you're super productive, there's often that nagging sense of, it's not enough, there's always more. For so many of the women we walk with, this feels like, I don't want my life to be consumed by this work. It has to serve my family and my vocation, not the other way around. It's so hard to fully shut off because technically I could always keep working. No matter how much I do, the list never ends. I'm torn on social media. There's so much creative energy that I spend there that I'm not really sure on the ROI. Or it's hard to make real progress and I can't figure out what actually matters most. So if you're thinking, yep, this is me, no shame, because you're not alone. Between the decision fatigue, the swirling tasks, the noise of all the million shoulds everyone is telling you need to do to grow your business, the endless pull of more that your work and your family asks of you, it's a lot to carry. And here's the truth. Nothing is wrong with you. You're just trying to lead without the clarity and the structure that keeps you anchored and focused. So the solution to this is clear prioritization first, so that our work time can actually be really fruitful. So it doesn't turn into sitting at the computer spinning your wheels or knocking out just a bunch of disjointed tasks that may feel productive in the moment, but don't actually move the needle forward. Because this happens to the best of us. So today I'm going to walk you through one of the most powerful rhythms that we do ourselves and that we lead our clients through. This is our Monday Set the Week process. We do this inside The Garden, our sustainable business and leadership growth program, and we teach our clients this that we work with in private consulting relationships. So every Monday, we ask two deceptively simple but game-changing questions. The first one is, what's your one thing? Your top priority this week, the thing that by doing this or by taking care of this, it makes everything else easier or even unnecessary. The one thing that will most move the needle forward in your business. You pause, you answer that question for yourself. Then number 2, what's your next tiny step towards that priority? What is your next tiny step towards that one thing, that top priority for this week? If you can answer those two simple, not necessarily easy questions, you're going to already set yourself up for a much more fruitful week than if you didn't answer those questions. When we hold space for this inside our Monday Set the Week call with our clients, we don't let everybody wiggle out with really vague answers. We get very specific. We ask them to share it either out loud or in the Zoom chat. And then we map it into the week. We hold you accountable with love and with curiosity, of course. Because without this discipline of pausing to prioritize, what happens is productive procrastination will always win. You will default to often busy work or even avoiding the very thing that could actually create the real progress and traction. Because let's be real, the needle movers are not usually the easy things. They stretch you. They bring up resistance. They are sometimes uncomfortable. There's a reason that you might be feeling stuck or that you've been avoiding some of them. This is why it matters to name it, to break it down to the next tiny step, and also have a space where you can get deeper support in whatever blocks, fears, hesitations, or maybe forms of self-protection might be coming up for you around that, and to be held in a community that's moving forward together. So let's recap. This is the way that you cut through that swirl of sitting down on Monday and where the heck do I even start? There's just so much to do. We can cut through that swirl with this very simple, supportive rhythm of naming the one thing, that top priority each week so you can stop spinning your wheels. Then 2, breaking it down into the next tiny step so it's less scary, it's more doable. And then the third step here that I really want to walk you through today is once we set that intention of the most important thing, now we can look at planning out the rest of the week with clear priority blocks. So you know exactly what to do when you sit down to work, and your precious work time, which is probably very limited, let's be honest, is protected instead of swallowed by the million-mile-long to-do list. So let's walk through that third step. What we do is we move into mapping out the rest of the week in a way that honors your season of life, your different commitments, honors the way you think and the way you work, your brain, and your capacity. So here's how we can break that down. On the big rocks first. We want to protect time for the high impact stuff, the highest leverage activities that you could be focused on. So these would be income producing activities or deep work for those needle moving projects. And we ideally want to set this up during our most peak productivity time, or really the times when you're in the best energy. So if you work the best in the morning, you know you've got the most brain power going and you're most easily focused. That's when you produce your best work. That's what we want to set aside time for those big rocks first, the highest leverage things. The second step is to batch the less critical tasks, but ones that still require some focused attention. We want to group the like energy things together. So this could be client delivery blocks or content creation blocks, or maybe you're doing admin and finances and you're kind of in the similar energy or headspace for it. So the goal is to not be context switching 10,000 times throughout the week, because that drains so much energy and just sucks our time. Then the third part of mapping out the rest of our week is to fill in the small stuff last. And again, we want to kind of batch the like type tasks. So we're letting those little things take their rightful place after the important pieces are already anchored in. We already have the protected time and space for the things that really need our best focus and our best attention and that are really going to be the highest leverage for us. So ideally, we want to be able to sit down and open your laptop knowing exactly what this block of time is for. And then knowing when it's time to transition to your next focus area that requires a different kind of energy. This is what helps us reduce that wasted time figuring out where to even begin or bouncing between whoever and whatever might be screaming the loudest in your inbox, and your messages or on social media. And this is what real planning looks like. It's intentional discernment, it's decision-making, it's boundary setting, it's setting yourself up for success, focus, and flow by creating the definitions and distinctions, and you're deciding ahead of time. so that you're not having to scramble or decide in the moment. And no wonder that's exhausting. No wonder it's overwhelming, right? And so it's not to create rigidity or to lock us into something that's not flexible, but it's creating deep work space for what matters most. And it also gives you breathing room. It's the structure that holds you, that creates space, and it builds in margin for real life too. This is what helps us move out of the reaction mode and protect the time for what you really need to take care of in the business so that you can gain momentum. And then you can end the week just feeling that deep sigh of, I did what I was meant to do this week. I stewarded my time well. I moved forward on the things that God was asking me to that mattered most. Because the reality is the tendency towards reactivity or chaos or even just complexity and overwhelm is very real and valid until and unless we intentionally pause that swirl. Because otherwise you're going to be inundated, pummeled by everything coming at you from all the directions, just trying to hit too many balls back and forth at the same time when you're just moving one way, you're in transition and just feeling like even making progress is a moving target. And how often do we think like, that prettier planner is going to help me get my crap together? Or that one size fits all plan, I just need a step by step and I'm going to follow that. But the reality is we're all also different. And the kind of energy you need for something is going to be different than the kind of energy I need for something. So we want to be thinking about when we're batching our tasks or we're creating these blocks of space for ourselves to move into something that's important in the business, we think about the kind of energy that we need for it. And we think about what might go together. And if we naturally bring those together into one bucket, it's just easier to stay focused. So this is kind of a practical rhythm that we teach our clients to build and embody. The truth is you don't need to do all the things. You need to focus on the right things to generate and to sustain the traction. And you don't need to hold it all together by sheer willpower either. We want the kind of structure and support that lightens the load. So whether you're in transition, you're discerning where God is calling you next, or you're building traction and momentum and you want to increase your income and the stability of that income, or if you're scaling up and you need more structure and systems to hold you as you grow, we're here to meet you where you are and help you to pursue this calling and grow your mission in a more grounded and integrated and deeply sustainable way. Because you don't have to keep leading from exhaustion or reaction or chaos. You can reclaim the space that you need to lead, to rest, to grow from a place of peace. It is possible. And it starts with these simple little shifts and practical shifts. We don't do this like everyone else. And I think sometimes we forget that until a new client comes along and they're acclimating to our way of being, and it's so different than they've experienced it anywhere else. And our hope is that that can be a relief and also bring some hope if you have been maybe burned or disappointed before by other spaces or coaches or programs or investments that haven't worked for you. Because we've been there too, and we completely see you and we get it. We believe here that work is meant to be redemptive and regenerative, and it's a source of sanctification. But we are not meant to operate like machines. You're not a robot. So while yes, we want to be more productive, and what we've talked about in prioritization is meant to help you with that, ultimately it's to help you be more fruitful so you can lead and grow and have the kind of space to bring out your best work and to thrive in that in a way that reflects and magnifies your humanity and your dignity, not the other way around. So in these times in our world today where there's significantly more uncertainty and upheaval and there's so much going on, the temptation is just like buckle down or maybe to cut spending as much as possible, frantically attempt to grow as fast as possible, or even both. But what we really need is to remain grounded, to steward the resources that God has entrusted to us carefully, to actively manage our capacity, and just to be very carefully discerning God's will. And that requires slowing down. That requires making decisions from a place of peace and intentionally slowing down when we feel like things are chaotic around us. So if you're tired of spinning your wheels on where to focus with your limited work time, or running in circles doing all the things, or carrying it alone without a clear path forward, we'd love to explore what support could look like for you. You can just go ahead and grab a 30-minute connection call with Anna. She'll hold such a beautiful space for you to just share wherever you're at, where you want to go, and see if there's mutual alignment. We'd be honored to walk with you. We hope you loved today's episode. If so, would you take a moment to share it with a friend?
If you haven't already, come connect with us human to human at apostolicfruit.com/connect. When you're ready, we'd love to support you more deeply.
May the Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you,
and turn his face toward you and give you peace.